This episode of Let's Talk It Out is brought to you by Montreal Fitness Trainers. Ernie Domenico has a team of 18 personal trainers with over 30 years of experience that has trained over 4,000 members. That's right, 4,000 members. Their office, which is located at the Leonardo da Vinci Center at 8370 Lac-Roder in Montreal, has opened a physio sports center which offers osteopathy, massage therapy, physiotherapy, podiatry, and naturopathy. For more information, you can send an email to montrealfitnesstrainers@gmail.com and they can help you feel better, move better, and eliminate pain. Thank you, Montreal Fitness Trainers. And now, back to our scheduled podcast, Let's Talk It Out.
Hey, everybody again! Nobody knows that joke, but we know what happened. Guys, it's Lisa from, I was going to say Kubati, but it's actually Let's Talk It Out podcast. Guys, welcome back. I know you love us. We love you. And just keep watching us because we enjoy your encouragement. So also tune in to our brother podcast sessions with Steph. I'm only saying that to give him a heads up, but nobody really looks at Vanny. Everybody looks at Let's Talk It Out because we have the best guests, but we're also not musicians like that.
The damn truth. Just saying.
I know, Annie. So, guys, tune in to both podcasts because we rock, you rock, everybody rocks, and we have awesome and amazing guests. So, I would also like to give a shout out to one of our newer sponsors, which we are so eternally grateful for. Thank you so much. Montreal Fitness Trainers, Ernie Domenico. So, the ad that you had seen at the very beginning is in fact a Montreal Fitness trainer. And guys, this basic, this training facility, the best. You have trainers with over 30 years of experience, trained over 4,000 members. They know their stuff. So guys, if you ever want to get fit, get into shape, get healthy, they are definitely your go-to. So now we're going to start our podcast.
Hello.
Hi, what's up? So, before I do that, I have to give a shout out to Francesca. Francesca, we miss you. We love you. We know that you're not here, but you will be the next time around, but that's okay. We're going to hold the fort, and Vanny's helping. So...
I can't replace, but I can try to talk a little bit. So
Yes, you're going to have to sound more feminine.
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
I thought I would give it a shot. I thought it was a bit of humor. Quirky humor. So, guys, we have special guests today. Now, I know one of our guests... for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah. We haven't seen each other for a long time. Yep. But I know you a long time.
Yes.
And it's always been a pleasure. Like you're always, giddy and happy and always in a good mood. And it's the first time that I'm meeting, I'm not going to say the name just like that, but it's Ashley. It's the first time I'm meeting you. Welcome, guys. So I'm going to introduce you.
Thanks for having us.
Paralegal Claudia Lapola and Maître.
Whoa. It's Bergantino.
Bergantino. Oh my God. How come I think it's the second time.
It's the second time.
This.
That's the second time.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's the second time I do this.
Where did you get that one? Where did you get that one?
I have no idea.
There is a Claudia Lapola. I don't know who she is, but...
I was about to ask, hey, I know a Lapola.
I've known her for a long time and I got her name wrong.
Oh my God.
How funny is that? See the blooper? This won't be edited.
No.
It shows you what a clown I really am.
Absolutely not.
Claudia Bergantino. Oh my God.
It is so
I don't know where it came from. I did that the last time too, and I was like, "Who's that?" I don't know.
Yeah, but last time there was a reason because there was that person that you mentioned it's the same first name.
She has the same first name as this person. I know who it is.
Who is
oh my God, it's another person I know, but it's totally sorry.
It's okay.
Claudia. So we're gonna start fresh now. So Claudia is a paralegal and Maître Ashley Trainor. So Maître meaning she is a lawyer, a fantastic lawyer from what I hear.
Thanks.
And you are, I know you by reputation, an amazing and outstanding paralegal.
Thank you.
Not by name, but anyway. No, I'm joking.
Shut up.
It's gonna be.
They all know me Andrew's assistant. That's what they really know me as.
Yeah, I know. My mom used to say like, I'm just assistant. And I'm like, Claudia, ma. See there, I got it right.
And it's Bergantino, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So, guys, thank you so much for coming on. I think this is going to be a very informative and funny podcast because we all have a great sense of humor, as we've detected prior to filming. And my little flubber right now. But anyways, so thank you guys so much for coming onto the show. Really appreciate it. So we're going to start with questions, but it's going to be more like a discussion, okay? So, Ashley, the question number one comes to you. What inspired you to become a lawyer?
The honest answer?
Normally it works.
My dad told me you had no choice.
No, I wanted a tattoo. I wanted a tattoo at 18 and I was a goody-goody and I wanted my dad's permission. So my dad said, no problem. If you get a scholarship into law school, then you can go for a tattoo.
Oh my God.
So I applied to law school and I got a scholarship and I
Are
got my
you
tattoo.
serious? That, by the way, is podcast gold.
Gold. I was gonna
That
say
is gold.
That is great.
That is amazing.
Or the professional response, I wanted to do it all my life.
That's right.
That's it, guys. No editing. No editing.
Wow.
So, in terms of becoming a lawyer, so your inspiration was really to sort of become an ambitious. You were ambitious from the very beginning.
I mean, to be fair, that's the reason why I applied. Initially, I wanted to do a business degree and then later on maybe go into law. Mm-hmm. But I wanted the tattoo now.
I want to wait.
I skipped a degree.
So, but in terms of the work that's involved to become a lawyer, can you tell us a little bit about that? How many coffees?
So, I mean, I went to University of Ottawa. I did the civil program and then the 1-year national program, which essentially means common law.
Yeah.
So, and then I did the Ontario bar and the Quebec bar. So essentially I can practice anywhere in Quebec and Ontario. And it was a lot of work, but it was also a lot of fun. I also, I went on exchange and I, had fun like everybody else in university, but I worked hard and that got me to where I am now.
Nice. And so, Claudia, I know that you're a paralegal.
Yes.
So can you give us a little bit more of an in-depth look into the life of a paralegal?
Or maybe just explain it, because I wouldn't have the slightest idea the difference. I'm sure that it's tons, and I'm showing
it's
my
very
ignorance.
different.
But it sounds.
There's
it sounds
lawyers,
so good.
there's paralegals, there's legal assistants. Legal assistants usually help the paralegals. Paralegals work closer with the lawyers. Mm-hmm. We draft a lot. Mm-hmm. We do research. It depends the law firm. Some law firms have the juniors do research, but some other law firms have the paralegals draft and prepare research. It's really like, the right hand of the father, like you're the right hand of the lawyer,
Yeah.
So
you're
every
always there.
lawyer has to study, has to pass through being a paralegal, or is it like... No. Okay.
Paralegal, there's a few places where you could study. There's O'Sullivan,
Yes.
which is a 3-year program. They now have an express program, which is 2.5 years, so you save 6 months. Mm-hmm. There's Collège Hansik, that is only in French. O'Sullivan offers it in both English and French. And then we have the 12-month programs at like CDI College or
12
English
months?
Montreal School Board. Yeah, it's very in-depth, a 12-month program, because they put 3 years in 1 month.
Oh
in
my
12
God,
months.
1 year, yeah.
So
Wow,
my
would you
God.
suggest that?
I wouldn't, no.
No, it sounds...
Sounds intense.
I've had some friends that
Like
went
the
to law
3-year
school.
program was hard and very dedicated, and it was 8:30 to 5 o'clock. Then you have to study, you have to do your homework and everything. So no, I wouldn't do it in 12 months. You really won't have a life.
Oh my goodness. So what is the difference between being a lawyer and a paralegal? Or what is the difference?
Like in
between-
court, let's say.
In a court.
See, here in Quebec, paralegals are not certified like most provinces in Canada.
Of course.
Okay, if you go into Ontario
Kinda
and you
different.
study in Ontario, paralegals are allowed to do interims at court, are allowed to go speak before the judge, before the special clerk. Here, it's all the lawyer.
Okay.
The lawyer does all the speaking with the judges.
Oh my
I
goodness.
had no idea paralegals in other provinces could actually speak to judges.
There's really 3 provinces: Quebec, if I'm not mistaken, Quebec, obviously. If I'm not mistaken, Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. Those are the same as Quebec, and the rest of Canada, you could actually have your own law firm, a paralegal firm with lawyers, and you could be the boss, like you could be the person in charge. And
All those
Learning
years
something
stayed.
new.
Wow.
So in terms of becoming a lawyer, Ashley, what are the specific things that interested you on a daily basis? What are the things, what are the motions that
How
you go
big
through
the tattoo
basically?
can get.
The tattoo is very small. I know. I essentially I liked debating. I was on the debate team in high school, and I liked being right. So I mean, that's I guess like the main idea of a lawyer is a litigator, because there's different types of law. I'm a litigator. I like going in front of the judge. I like, preparing my case and convincing the judge that I'm right, and just like I like convincing my husband that I'm right. Or
Comes in
anybody
handy.
else. I practice.
As a husband, how do you I'm a lawyer. Oh, damn. There's nothing you
You
can
forget
say.
my profession? Okay.
Oh, when he told his parents that he was dating a family lawyer, they're like, "You're screwed, man. Good luck with that."
But what type of work goes into being a lawyer? Because I know under family law, it's a huge umbrella. So you have, from the research that I looked at, there's child's custody, there's divorce, there's separation. Like it's a whole slew of topics. What is the one topic, I guess you would specialize in all of that. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And that,
Yeah, I do family law and successions.
Okay.
So like estate files.
In terms of recent, events, what type of family law do you see yourself seeing the most these days?
I
What
mean,
part of it?
general divorces.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in Quebec, there's a high rate of divorces. I mean, unfortunately, great for me, but depends, I guess, how you want to look at it. But yeah, general divorces, child custody cases, and support cases.
And in terms of how do you go about acquiring your information? I know you have a paralegal that helps you, but in terms of preparing for a case, what is involved? Because I know that there must be research.
Yeah, I mean, every case is fact-based and is different based on the needs. Sometimes the case is, not necessarily litigious, so it's trying to have strategy to negotiate with the other lawyer, knowing what my client's willing to accept and not, in order to get her or him the best deal. If it's litigious, obviously preparing my case, drafting proceedings, getting the research done, making sure that when I'm in front of the judge, I know what I'm doing and can, prepare the best case possible for my client.
Now, have you ever met with a lawyer that gave you or posed a difficult situation in a court case? Let's say you were in court. Did you ever have a difficult lawyer, let's say?
I mean, all lawyers are different. All lawyers have different angles of how they're gonna.
She's laughing, so there's a story here. Lay it on us.
I mean, she's thinking about one particular lawyer, but I've never had. Well, that's not true. But anyways, they all have their own personality, and it's just about learning their personalities and how to kind of not let it get to you, whether the lawyer might be overly aggressive or come in and you think that you can walk all over them, but they're actually really intelligent and coming out with really smart ideas. So it's just about getting to know the personality of the lawyer and sticking to your own game and knowing your facts and just doing what you need to do in front of the judge.
Was there ever a situation, for the both of you, was there ever a situation that was complicated or something that was a major
Is there any
challenge?
situation
No,
that
but I
wasn't
mean
complicated?
something that is extraordinary that you'd say, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Like, was there ever one special case that you can say, I had a serious challenge here with this client or this situation, let's say, and how did you handle that?
I mean, for me, yeah, there's obviously clients can be difficult. Clients come in and, I hear all the time, well, my cousin's sister's boyfriend got divorced and this is what happened in their case. Why can't I have it? And, every case is fact-based. And obviously my advice to them will be different than to another client, even though they have both of them might be divorced.
Okay.
The facts will change how I give my advice and what I say.
And how do you know what is admissible? Like, let's say, for example, because you have to filter through a lot of information that your client is telling you. How do you know you want to take that case? What is that definitive decision-making point that you would say, okay, I think we have a case here and I can represent you? What is it that sort of motivates you?
I mean,
to do
everybody
that?
really has a case. There's, especially in divorce, there's two sides to every story. So
There's
you
two
know,
sides and then the truth, right?
And then the truth, yeah.
everybody has what they want, what they have to say, and so generally, like I have clients come and I want you to tell the judge this, and I'll tell them like I'm absolutely not telling the judge that. But, you know, doesn't mean that they don't have a good case, or doesn't mean that I can't represent them. It's just certain things. Obviously, I'll filter, and I'm not going to tell the judge every single thing that comes out of their mouth because
That's good.
not always helpful.
But
Is
it's not
there-
always the client. It's not always the lawyer who decides. It's also the client sometimes.
Yeah.
Because there has to be an interaction between the client and the lawyer.
Yes.
And the whole team, and sometimes there isn't that interaction, or sometimes they don't appreciate how the lawyer speaks to them.
Okay. Yeah.
But at the end, it's the client who decides if they want that specific lawyer or another specific
Yeah, you need
lawyer.
to feel comfortable with your
need to-
lawyer.
yeah.
You need to
Yeah.
have that relationship because, I mean, they're in charge of your case and you want to feel like they have your best interest and they're, defending you to the best of their ability and, they got your back. And if they don't,
Well, how would you explain that to a client? Let's say somebody comes to see you and it's a legal proceeding that's very difficult. Let's say you're encountering a very difficult situation. How would you explain that to a client in order to create a rapport with that client?
I'm very much of the, idea that I'm going to be upfront with my client. I'm not going to tell them, oh my God, you're 100% winning this case. I'm 100% getting this to you. To be fair, if any lawyer says 100% I can do this, maybe don't trust them because, when you go in front of a judge, they are the ones that wear the robes. They're the ones that make the final decision. And, sometimes you can have the best case and think there's no way I can lose this, and you lose. And then sometimes there's times when you're like, there's no way I can win this. And then, the judge is like, yeah, that makes complete sense. And you're like, cool.
Yeah, I knew that.
So like you tell the client, this is, you have a good case. This is how we're going to prepare for your case. Obviously, we never guarantee anything.
Yeah.
And, obviously, I'll tell them you need to feel comfortable. So I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to ask the questions.
Yes.
And generally speaking, I've never had anybody tell me that they no longer want to work with me. So.
Excellent. See, so she's a fantastic lawyer.
Amazing.
See?
Well, I wanted to ask that too. Sorry, Lisa. This is
Go
super
ahead.
interesting to me. But
Go ahead.
So every job you have to deal with people. And I think that's the toughest part of any job, whether you're a caretaker or a nurse or any job. There's always that clown that comes in or that whatever. But as a lawyer, I feel like you kind of have power to say no. Go in the corner and be quiet kind of thing. And I would love to say that to so many people, but I wouldn't. But how do you manage, because you're also dealing with people, especially family law, super sensitive.
Yeah,
right?
very
They just
emotional.
went through
Very emotional.
very emotional.
Yeah.
So besides crazy people, now you have crazy people that are emotional. Like you can't ask for anything harder than that. How do you deal with that?
I mean, sometimes my sessions end up being therapy sessions where
That's
they're
See,
sitting
right?
there and they're
Imagine,
crying,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you let them express their emotions. And
But how do you sit down and explain to them? Listen, you're a little bit sensitive to the fact you can't just do that or say that. I know you can explain it to them legally, but you have to get somehow on a human level and say, listen, you're wrong. You shouldn't have ran away with the kid, or whatever.
I'll tell them if they're wrong, they're wrong, and I'll tell them. I'm very upfront and real with my clients. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
God, can I come in your office for one day?
I say what I believe is true, and if they have screwed up and if they're wrong, I will tell them.
Yeah. Did you ever say, what were you thinking? Were you on? I love that.
Oh my God, really? A client
So
said that
good.
for sure.
Yeah,
I
so
can
good.
imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because sometimes they are wrong.
Of course. Yeah.
When
Wow.
they do it, to your point, people act out on emotion.
100%.
Right?
Family law is very emotional.
Yes. So let's say, for example, no, don't communicate with that person. Then they have
right.
14 emails that they wrote, right? And then
Story
you
of
say,
my life.
well,
Yeah.
really, eh?
Yeah. Don't
And-
say one word. Okay.
Stop sending text messages.
Yeah.
I only sent 20.
What were the contents of this? Well, I just told him I was going to kill him. That's all. You're like, I don't think that's good. So in terms of family law, what does it represent to you? Why family law?
I like the interaction, like the human interaction. You know, I did tax and corporate law for a while. I found it very dry and very boring, and I found it lacked that emotion. I mean, granted, I went like the full extreme of excessive emotion. But I like dealing with people. So I think that's what drew me to want to do family law. And to a certain extent, you feel like you've had an impact in their life, hopefully for the better. And
let's
that you
face
made
it,
an impact.
corporate law, like family law, you do change someone's life, and
And you're hoping for the better.
and you're hoping for, like, not to be mean, but corporate law, it's a lot of money, fighting a lot of money. So the guy who loses in the end, yeah, he loses, but could be worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
But they're still okay. Whereas family law, I think if you help someone that's been unjustly, treated,
yeah.
there's a sense of, I don't know, I would feel proud, of course, saying, hey man, that person had a rough go of it and I was able to help them. So I don't know, I think there's
Yeah,
more
when you have people saying, oh, thank you, like you changed my life, or
100%.
you helped me from the lowest point in their life to getting out of a tough situation. Like it's rewarding.
Is there in the paralegal sense, does it change, like if it's family law or corporate law, or is there like, do you choose family law as a paralegal, or like once you're a paralegal, you can cover all of it and it depends where you get?
Well, it really depends where you go into which field. I started off, I did my internship at the Montreal courthouse.
Okay.
So I saw how the court inside works, the interior of the court, how everyone works, how the special clerks and everyone behind the scenes. It was a great experience. Then I did banking law for 2 years.
Yeah.
Boring. But interesting, as the only English one able to speak English at the law firm, I was able to communicate with Toronto, which the head offices and all, which helped a bit more interesting. But yeah, family law has, you have to have, I would say, like a strong character to work in family law, because you just can't just yell at the client.
Yeah.
They're coming in. No, but you know what I mean. Like,
I'm kidding.
Someone's coming crying. You're like, get out of my office. I don't want to hear you cry. Like, you can't.
Does family law encompass like being wronged not by family? Like, is that still part of the same? Like, let's say I don't know, some company mistreated me for some reason. I don't know. They had to do my pavé and they stole money and I want to sue them. Is that part of, like, where does that fall under? That's
civil.
That's just civil. Okay.
Yeah, civil litigation.
Okay, so family is literally husband, wife, divorce, kids.
Not necessarily husband, wife.
Okay, yeah.
Like kids, common law.
Okay.
Grandparents wanting to see their children, the grandchildren.
That's right, eh? Oh my God.
Elder abuse.
Yeah.
My God, I'm sure you have so many stories.
International.
That was my next question. I was like, is there
Kidnapping.
without names
Obviously.
or anything? Is there one case that stands out in particular that sort of impacted you? It could be good, could be negative. Oh boy, you have a lot of cases there.
I'm trying to think of the one that probably impacted me the most. It was probably my first client, just probably because she was my first client, and it was the first file that I took from the beginning to the end. And I got her kids. So, like,
Nice.
that was like, I still speak to her today. We have a good
God.
rapport. Like, we're friends now. Like,
Yeah. Wow.
there's different. Like, we have a file where the child was 6 months when I started with the file, and now the father just sent me a text saying she turned 13. Like, it's
Wow.
Oh.
like you get to know these clients and they become important people in your life because you've had they've impacted you and you've impacted them.
Yeah, 100%.
So like certain files, they keep in touch, and it's interesting to see where it goes, kind of thing, how the kids evolve, and especially when there's kids.
Oh yeah, I know that.
The
must be
kids are the
hardest.
ones that like impact me the most.
Oh, that was the
That's-
hardest. But in terms of paralegal, what is your moment, let's say, or what was your
Calling
time
Toronto.
case?
No, that's banking law. No, I would say there was this one case where the woman was very adamant that she did not want sleepovers, she did not want, and the lawyers were not able to communicate, and after a few conversations and a few times speaking with her, I told her, I go, wouldn't you want a night out? One night out? Like, not worrying that, no one's there for your children. And we ended up, let's say, well, the child was 6 months, 7 months. So when the child turned 3 years old, she was ready for shared custody. She was like, okay, I'm good. I'm like, okay.
Wow. And in terms, I think by law, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm just saying, I'm trying to sound intelligent. I read a Duc à loi. They say that a child, I guess, can make a decision whether to live with both parents or one parent at a specific age. Is that true?
No, there's no specific age. As of 18, obviously, there's no more parental schedule, but the courts will start listening to them in and around the age of 12, 13. There's not even a specific age when the court, like the child has to be, mature enough to be able to, give their own opinion and articulate that opinion and that desire. But like, for example, a 5-year-old might say, I want to stay with mommy. Okay, that 5-year-old's also saying, I don't want to go to bed, but you make the child go to bed.
Yeah.
The 5-year-old's not going to dictate to the court which parent
The Xbox
he or
is at
she-
that house.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, funny enough, like even in the situation of the file that I was talking, my first case, the child, one of the children at least, was 12 or 13 and wanted to live with dad. And the court said it's not in your best interest to live with dad. So even at 13, he was, mature enough to articulate and express his desire. And the court is looking at what is the best interest of the child or the children. And the court said it's not in your best interest to go live with dad, who has no rules, who, has no curfew, who doesn't care about homework or school or anything like that. You're going to go live with mom because that's in your best interest. So,
Okay.
they'll take into consideration at a certain age, and around 12, 13. But it's not just because you've said so, that's where you're going.
Okay. Is there ever a point where you disagreed with a judge's verdict?
Yeah.
Everyone she lost.
Yeah, and when that would happen, let's say, you discuss the end result with your client, would you ever have to put in to appeal, let's say? Was there a
Certain
moment-
files you appeal, and other files it's you lost. And
So I'm not asking for numbers, but in terms of the ratio that you're, because you seem very, very comfortable and very good and solid as a lawyer. Yeah, you seem very, I would hire you. Seriously, I don't even need a lawyer. I would hire you just because you seem solid.
I'll give you my card after.
Woohoo, we'll talk.
As a therapist. So.
Hey. In terms of, when you take a specific case and you take you have to explain and you have to delve into the research in terms of, what it is that you want your client to know about the possibilities of winning or losing. And then when you end up in court and you actually see, because I know sometimes the judges are known in terms of this one's tough, this one's a little less tough, this one is more understanding, do you have a jurisprudence with this judge? Are these go-to, I guess, advantages that a lawyer would look at, or they would say, okay, no, this judge, we have to study this judge? Like, what is a strategy you would use?
You
I guess,
can't
in the end?
strategize really so much with judges because you can't judge shop. So
Okay.
you only get, like, for example, on interims, you find out that day who you're proceeding
Yeah.
in front of, and for trials, you find out
15 days before.
Yeah.
About.
Yeah.
2 weeks before. And obviously, you learn what the judges like. Do the judges like a lot of jurisprudence? Do the judges like written argument? Do judges like long testimonies, or whatever it might be? You get to know the judges, but I mean, you can't change. You don't change your strategy in the sense of you can't rewrite the facts.
No, but I mean in terms of, because let's say, for example, a case can last more than a day. I would understand that a family law situation or a court case doesn't.
Depending on what stage you're at, yeah.
Okay, so it can stem for a week, or let's say 2 weeks. I'm just saying 2 weeks. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it can stem for a week. Let's say a solid week. And during that time, you would have to accumulate all types of facts and information and jurisprudence in order to prove your case. So if you know that you are in front of a judge that poses a challenge to you, and you want to win this case because you have that credibility. You know beyond a reasonable doubt that this client of yours is, honest, and it's you can win. How do you prepare yourself in terms of if the judge sort of poses maybe gives you a hard time? Because I know there's some judges that'll sort of ask you a question but divert you, or some judges will actually take over and ask the questions for you. And in that sense, like, how do you react to these judges? And do you have a sense as a lawyer if you're gaining momentum and proving a reasonable doubt?
I mean, it's not so much a reasonable doubt, that's criminal, but it's as long as you know your case, you can adapt well enough to whatever the judge throws at you. Like, you've
So you don't just wing it.
No.
I jump on stage sometimes. I just wing it. Yeah, let's just do it.
No.
Not the same, I guess.
Especially like for trials, like you've prepared everything. Let's say for example, your closing argument, you've prepared it, you practiced it, and then a judge asks a bunch of questions. Yeah, you lose momentum, but as long as you know your facts, you can always tie it back, and or maybe they've asked a question that you were going to deal with at the end of your argument, so you just you recalculate and you kind of configure everything, and you just continue. Once you know your facts, it's just a matter of how you're going to present it, and if you have to change your presentation.
Does experience help? Like, obviously it must help a little bit,
sure.
but is it a big factor?
I think so too. I mean, depends on the file.
I would think so.
But I think just in terms of like my confidence in court is a lot greater now than it was when I was like 10 years ago, going in front of a judge.
But like the adapting period, like is it?
Yeah, it becomes easier and
Does
easier,
it?
and you learn with every case, and you learn how to kind of manage different lawyers and manage different judges. And
Do you always know the opposing lawyer? Like, is it?
Yeah.
No, it's not a.
I mean,
smaller-
now it's a smaller family. If
It
you will.
is.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's always new lawyers coming in, and there's always
if we're in the greater of Montreal.
sometimes I'll have a file in Saint Jérôme, and I don't know all the lawyers there, and sometimes you have lawyers that
Like some in Cowansville or like
Oh my God, you guys
Drum-
go all the way over there too.
we have a few files.
Cowansville, Joliette. You won't know those lawyers. You won't know those judges. You've never heard of those judges. Saint Jérôme, you would have, because sometimes the Montreal ones go to Saint Jérôme
Longueuil too.
and Valleyfield.
Laval.
Yeah.
in
But
terms of education, how's the difference between a judge and a lawyer? What?
there's no education
The
difference.
education-
They're
No,
not
no, I mean-
educated at all.
I mean, like how long?
sit there.
Like the program to study, becoming a lawyer and then or becoming a judge.
There's no additional schooling to become a judge.
Oh no. Okay, that's
You're
okay.
You're appointed.
Oh, you're
Oh,
appointed.
so you're a lawyer and you get appointed. Yay.
I believe
Let's
it's
talk
how-
it out.
it's
I learned
after
something
10
every day.
years,
I had no
You
idea.
have to be a lawyer for a
For
minimum of 10 years
years.
before you're allowed, and then I think they do a weekend crash course on how to be a judge.
Here's a mallet and you just bang it. That's all.
Because that's.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either, eh?
I thought
There's
you
no
had-
extra schooling
Okay.
Really?
Wow.
So all judges are lawyers
by
Wow.
trade. Yeah.
by trade.
This is what this podcast is all about. I learned
But
something.
what is the criteria for somebody to figure out or to appoint you, let's say, to pull you out of the number of lawyers that are out there? What is it that they look for? What criteria? Besides
I'm not.
experience?
I'm not really sure. I know there's a list of criteria that they'll look for, but I don't.
Do you want to become a judge?
Maybe.
Wow.
Never say no.
That's wow. That's
endeavor.
shocking. I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And what happens if, like, I'm sure they must have made mistakes picking, like, how the hell did you pick this guy as a judge? Like, because, I mean, there's always that percentage of people that are, I don't know, could be stubborn, and that's, I would imagine.
I mean, like, you're gonna have bad lawyers, like you have bad
Yeah, of course.
doctors and
Yeah,
bad
but when it's a
musicians
judge,
and bad,
it's a problem.
They're
It's like,
balancing your life,
Yeah.
basically, right?
The only thing is that judges don't all work in family law. So if you're a judge and you're judging a family law case, it could be it's the first time you've ever touched family law in years.
Oh my
okay,
goodness.
so that's not good.
That no, but like you
doesn't
get
help you.
appointed to a certain Superior Court, Court of Quebec. It all depends.
So, I
That's-
mean, if they've never worked in family law and they have a family law case, I would imagine that they would have to do their research on family law, right? They would have to know their laws. Like, as a judge, you have to be, I would assume as a lawyer and a paralegal, you have to know all the broad spectrum of everything legal, right? Whether it be family law, criminal law, do you have to know all these laws pertinent to those specific areas? Or because you're in family law, it's just family law?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know all the tax laws and all the like. I have friends be like, "Okay, I have a labor law question." I'm like, "Go see a labor lawyer."
Unless it pertains to a case, like if you know that I don't know, I don't know if this would happen, but like the guy's an ass, let's say, and he mistreated your client, and you can get him on tax fraud. Like, would you call a tax lawyer and say, "Hey, this guy, this is something weird. Would you look into it just to get him?"
Fact-based. It depends on the situation. It depends, I guess.
But I mean, you would that would be the opportunity you would take.
I mean, if there was an issue, let's say my client had an issue with their employer, I would suggest maybe that they go see a labor lawyer.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God! So a judge has to know all the laws for across the spectrum. So as a lawyer, you only concentrate on one. But if let's say you become a judge, you would have to know about those other fields as well, like criminal, let's say, or civil.
Well, usually when you find out which field you're going, you'll probably, update yourself and.
Oh my God! So the learning never ends when you become a lawyer. So you're consistently learning. Is
It
there?
never ends for any of us.
Yeah,
No?
100%.
Like the civil code of procedure changed a few times from when I started 15 years ago to today. I think it changed like twice.
Really?
The way the courthouse want things 15 years ago to today are different. COVID did make a big change for us. Where extra ways of forms of doing, we had to fill in extra forms, send the documents late by email before this time. There was, it did change a lot, but there's always learning of
Which
different
is great.
things.
Yeah. Well, obviously you enjoy
Well, you
school
learn and you
learning,
adapt to like the new times, and
of
everything is always evolving, and you get different cases, and I get to work on bigger cases with my other partners and whatnot. And
So is this true? I need to ask this question. Is this true? The junior, like the lawyer that's just hired, is he or she the person that gets all the
Coffee?
like, is it like sports where the new guy,
Are
is
you
the
like-
guy that gets
Do you want to say suits or something?
the guy that like they make work?
Yeah.
Like you got to do your time. So in the first 10 years, we're gonna slap you around
I
silly.
put my hours in.
Yeah,
Really?
right. And so it's true. Like the guy gets hired. Hey, the first 10 years, you have no life. Like literally, a friend of mine quit.
You
have
want to
a
prove
life.
you want to prove yourself.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, a friend of mine quit. That's why. I
yeah,
asked you.
and there are people that don't want to put the time in and don't want to prove themselves, and I also think it depends on what firm you're at.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was at a big firm. He's like, no, if I get called at midnight, whether I'm at a wedding or not, and they need something, I leave the wedding and I go.
Really?
Never called it midnight, but I mean, I worked long hours.
Mind you, I guess family law would be different depending on what.
I wouldn't say that different.
I mean, I've gotten calls from clients at midnight saying,
Oh, for
"Hi,
sure.
I'm being arrested."
Oh,
That's fantastic.
yeah, I would imagine. That's.
Yeah, it depends
Talk
on the
to you
firm.
later.
It depends on the firm. It
How
depends.
come when I
on-
called it was busy? No, I'm joking.
I don't know. As a junior, I wanted to prove myself. I wanted to work my way up. I wanted to learn,
Okay.
and that's why I'm still where that's why I am where I am, and that's why I'm still at the firm that I started at and
Wow.
made partner.
exactly.
That's amazing.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, that's fantastic.
That's amazing.
Now, in terms of the people in your office, obviously you have to have a rapport with the people in your office, as I understand it. So a paralegal has to have a rapport with a lawyer, let's say, that you're working with. Is that correct? Or let's say what would happen in the event that there wouldn't be that rapport?
It would be very hard to work.
Really?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay.
The lawyer will have, a case sometimes could be very stressful. They'll be agitated or, like, oh, this needs
We're
to
never
get
agitated.
very stressed. Let's say that. Or there's a deadline and like everybody's busy and, they're all around you and they're like, it has to be out by 4:30.
Oh my god.
And it's like 4:20 and you have like 5 lawyers behind you. So everybody gets like, we're stressed, but you know, we laugh about it. We pretty much laugh about it.
After drinks.
After. But yeah.
But how do you control that? Because that must be a lot of weight for a paralegal to sort of
I love
say,
it, honestly.
how do you prioritize who is first? Let's say you have 5 lawyers coming at you. I need this. And obviously it's time, time delay. So you have to go by priority. Let's say it's all due at the same time. How do you make that decision to say, I will take care of this and take care of this and take care of this?
Because some lawyers just say it's urgent, but it's really not.
Because you learn.
I'm not one of those lawyers.
You learn.
I'd say it's urgent, it's urgent.
You learn slowly, like.
Oh, it's urgent.
Especially
It's been
12
urgent
years
the last
working
10 times.
It's 12 years working with 2 specific lawyers before joining Divine Chapter Polac with Maître Hev. So we, I knew when it was, I would know more than he would. I would go to him and say, okay, like, is it ready?
Oh, really?
It's like 4 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock. It's due in half an hour.
But I mean, but it's, I guess that's predominantly a main factor when it comes to preparing a case, because you work long hours preparing a case, and I would imagine you as well. Do you have as many hours as what a lawyer would invest in a case?
See, I'm more of a person that if I'm not finished, I'll finish it.
Okay.
If it has to be done. If I could bring it to the next day, then I'll see if I could bring it to the next day.
Yeah.
But I like when I start a project, I prefer finishing it.
Yes.
I've always worked long hours. Many hours.
Oh, boy.
I've worked until 11 o'clock. It depends. Some bigger firms, paralegals work until midnight, 1 o'clock. I've heard it. I've heard it all.
Wow. And as a lawyer, how many hours did you dedicate to one case? Let's say, I guess it's case dependent.
Yeah,
right?
it depends on the case. It depends on where we're at. Like,
It also depends on the client, how many times they call, right?
Yeah, those obnoxious clients that keep emailing. Hi, can you give me information? Hi, can you give me information?
No, but we've had trials where we've been at the office till 3 a.m., 4 a.m.
Oh my God.
And then we go to court the next morning at 8, and that's what you do.
Ooh,
And other days you can leave at 6.
really?
If you have
Sometimes
to do a
you leave at
podcast,
2.
you can
You
leave.
got to do a podcast.
Gotta do a podcast. Gotta leave at 7. Sorry.
I'm gonna leave now. That's it. Don't call me.
I have a question about the actual system in Quebec. Like
Yeah,
everything.
that was getting
the
into that.
system
Yeah.
in Quebec is always like, I've heard horror stories. I don't know if it's true or not, but like the courts are tied up, and by the time you pass your case, like if you want to go in small claims court, forget it. You have to wait a year and a half, 2 years. Do you have any, like, not suggestions, but do you see why that is, or is it just because it is like that's the amount of time it takes, or is there time wasted because government or any reason? You know what I mean? Like I can look at different systems and say, oh my God, the hospital system, like what the hell? Why does it take so long to get this? If you just did this, maybe you would, do you see that being inside the
I mean, I think at one point it's just there's so many files and not enough judges.
So that's
and
basically what it
personnel.
is, right?
Yeah. It's,
okay. There's not time waste. Like sometimes you hear like, I don't know.
They keep it on the desk.
I've heard of case like some big mobster guy got away because they just waited too long to pass court.
I mean, look, I'm sure there's exceptions to every rule, but I think as a general kind of understanding, it's that there's a lot of cases that need to be heard. COVID for sure didn't help because the courts were closed for a while, and at one point it's just there's not enough people to get through it.
So it just is what it is.
Yeah, because I mean sometimes you have a case that's like a trial, so you can always be heard urgently. You will be heard within, let's say, 2 weeks. Like
2 weeks to a month.
You
Depends.
will be heard. Now, what's considered urgent for some people is not necessarily what is actually urgent.
Yeah, exactly.
But in terms of, for example, a final hearing, final divorce case, a final divorce hearing where at the end of it you're going to get a judgment of divorce. I fixed a 4-day hearing in November 2022 for January 2024.
Oh my gosh.
A 4-day hearing.
My gosh.
Because there wasn't a judge available for 4 days until then.
Really?
Well, because then you look at both lawyers' agendas, the judge's agenda, so you have to It's
It
far.
takes a long
yeah.
So
time.
there's not. It's just that. It's
Yeah, I mean,
not-
there's always going to be your
there's always an
exceptions,
exception,
but as a general rule, yeah.
So how do you, and to Steph's point, how do you see the legal system in Quebec compared to, let's say, Toronto? How do you view it?
I haven't worked enough in Ontario. I've never actually practiced. I have the Ontario bar, but I haven't practiced in Ontario, so I can't really make a fair comparison.
Okay.
To
The laws
two.
are also a bit different from here
Yeah.
to Ontario.
Oh yeah, we're Quebec.
Yeah.
No, there is a big.
One's
there-
civil and one's common.
Yeah,
The
exactly,
laws
so-
of itself are different.
So the system in Quebec, the legal system in Quebec, what is your take on that? What is your reaction to how we handle the judicial system here? Because I know there's a lot of talk on, let's say, the different laws between, the common law. We have different, I guess, practices here, different laws here than as opposed to elsewhere. What is your impression of that as a lawyer? How do you feel about the laws that are instilled, let's say, in family law? Do you find some of them fair? Do you find some of them could be improved on?
I think we can always improve on anything really. Like the medical system, the legal system can always be improved, and
Is there one specific area, let's say, that you would say, I've represented clients so much in this area? Is there something that is simpler or, logical as opposed to what it is now?
it's hard to answer that because everything is fact-based, and sometimes like one fact can change, how I'm gonna feel about it or how I'm gonna proceed or whatnot. So it's kind of hard to make one specific point on like what I think should be modified.
Okay, I have an example. Let's say let's say I'm not sure if this is factual, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. In terms of a joint custody, it was always presumed, let's say, that the child would be better off with the mom, right? The maternal. And now, and I did read this, I forgot where I read it, they're considering the father as
100%.
well.
Yeah, no.
The first go-to was always the mom, quote unquote. But in terms of, I guess, recently, they consider the father as just a capable parent.
Well, yeah.
100%.
So.
And to be fair, they should.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you.
No.
You're hired.
I mean,
You're hired. Give me the card.
I mean, I don't think just because you're a woman that you're going to be better suited to take care of kids than the father. I think the courts are looking 100% at the best interest of the children and want to encourage, an equal responsibility or residential time between both parents, assuming that it's in the best interest of the children. It's not just, because you're a parent that you deserve shared custody, or we call it shared parental time. But if it's in the best interest of the children, if you have the schedule to do it, it doesn't mean just because you're a man that you don't have the parental capacity to take care of your children.
That's true.
Is there, sorry, I need to ask this question. Is there one law that you say, I can't believe this law either still exists, or what is
exactly.
this? How the hell, that irks your ass every time. It always comes out.
Here again.
I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
I can't think off the top of my head with one particular one. I'm sure there are because
There has to be.
there has to be.
I heard that there's some laws that are just there because it's since 1912 or whatever, and they just never mended it, and I don't know. I saw it on this weird show.
I'm sure there are, and I'm sure I'm gonna go home and be like,
sure.
oh my god, that law.
They never fixed it, they never changed, and then it comes up okay, we gotta work on this, this is outdated like crazy,
And also in terms, especially family law, when it comes to psychologists that have to speak to the children, right? It can be very detrimental in the sense that, there's a lot of stress, right? To the mother, the father, and then you have the child going to see the psychologist. You don't know what they're saying. Is there ever a time where you were representing somebody and you had a report where the report opposed, let's say, the client you were representing, that the child stay with that? How much weight, this is an example, how much weight would that hold? Let's say a custody or a shared custody?
I mean, you go
Well,
to
it
court.
really depends the facts,
Yeah.
and it really depends on what the
On the
psychologist
report.
saw, or because they do a very thorough like mother-child relationship, father-child, child alone, father alone, mother alone. So like they really do
Yeah.
everyone in depth. How much would it stand? I've seen custody with a report removed from the mom.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I mean,
So
but you
it
can,
really depends.
You can cross-examine the expert, and it's not just because they wrote a report that all of a sudden that report is gold.
Exactly.
It has a weight, but you know you can
could always counter
you
it.
can cross-examine. Yeah, you can
Just to
do,
be reliable, you know. you
yeah,
gotta
I
make
mean,
sure
you can do a
But-
counter expertise depending on, again, this is all depending on situations and whatnot, but you can do a counter expertise. You can cross-examine them on the final hearing. You know, there's obviously, it's not just because they've written a report that, okay, well, I'm not going to go to trial because they wrote a report.
Yeah, exactly.
oh my God. So, okay, yeah, no, we're gonna do our game now.
Yes.
That's serious talk. We'll get back to that. but
I
right
could go on forever, by the way. This is
This is
fascinating to me.
yeah, you know
I
what?
love it.
I wanted to be a lawyer, and I was like, my mother's now telling me you should go back to law school. Yeah, ma. Now at 9 o'clock, I'm like this, right? I remember those university years. It was like, oh my God, the coffee, those all-nighters, and then you had the 4-hour exam, like 1 hour later.
Okay,
So-
so you did one each for, is that what
Yes, we did
okay.
one each.
So this game is called Rapid Response.
Oh boy.
Lisa wrote the questions. So, whatever.
I'm sorry. I just tell you right now beforehand. I apologize.
Yeah, they're
Right.
just questions, and you know, it's like spit out as fast as you can whatever the answers come to mind. You know,
That could be dangerous.
we'll give
I
an
just hope they're
example,
Very good answers.
and I'll ask Lisa the first one. Lisa, name 3 things that are fluffy.
A cat, pantoufles, slippers,
No.
Okay,
and rugs.
rugs are fluffy.
They can be.
Carpet burn. Anyway,
See,
Claudia, you can
painless.
ask. What's that? You name 3 things that are fluffy.
Fluffy.
Yeah, I change the game around once in a while.
Yeah,
just to
because
put
he
her off her
thinks, he
game.
thinks he decides on my
Yeah.
game.
Dogs, the
Yeah.
furry ones.
For sure. Bunnies.
Bunnies, yeah, sure. But you know, like giraffes, they're a bit fluffy. I just love giraffes. So like,
Okay, you're a giraffe.
no matter what it is, it'll be giraffe. My answer will be giraffe.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
That's you've petted a fluffy giraffe.
I just imagine, you know, petty.
The answer's
fluffy.
giraffe.
They're not fluffy, obviously not. Come on.
Ashley, you have anything in mind that's fluffy?
My kid's hair.
There you go.
Just curly hair. You brush it. It's fluffy.
How do you manage? That? Sorry. Now the question comes in. How many children do you have?
2.
2? Do you have? Claudia,
have
do you-
2.
Then you have 2. How do you manage that? Like, I have 2 children as well. Lisa has a child. as well.
Sometimes not well.
That must be really, really hard. Like,
Inanis.
Inani.
No,
Yeah, that's
that's
true.
it.
That's true.
I have a very supportive husband, so I'm lucky. Who's able to, who has the schedule that he can kind of, you know, really step up. And sometimes I don't manage it, and sometimes it's hard, and we
It's
figure it out.
it's hard for anybody.
Yeah.
So
I
whether
mean-
you're a lawyer or not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's just, but you know.
Yeah,
It's,
sometimes the guilt, the mom guilt's real. Like, you know, sometimes when I'm working till 3 a.m. and have left before they've woken up or whatnot, but I make sure I'm at the important things. So
there you go.
Oh,
Do
nice.
you book
Beautiful.
vacations on purpose? Like,
Yes.
do you take 2 weeks to say
yeah,
nothing's happening? Those okay.
yeah,
good.
yeah. And when I'm home, I try my best to be present.
Oh yeah, you can do that.
I said try.
I get right. Yeah.
We try.
You see the
It's
sound,
like,
you
you
see
know,
the message, and you're like, "Oh my God, is it that case? I need to know." But no,
Like when I'm at
home.
work, and I'm all in. And I try and give my kids the same, and my husband the same.
Yeah.
When I'm at home, I'm all in.
Cool.
Very nice.
That's amazing.
Very-
Same for you? Is it the
Same.
same idea?
Same idea.
Okay. That's amazing.
I'm lucky, you know. My spouse is a construction worker, so, you know, winters are a bit more easier on me. You know, he'll pick up the kids, he'll drop off the
'cause
kids.
he's- okay.
But I also have like the nannies, the grandparents, you know.
That's the best. That's the best. I pass by to pick up.
Make sure the
cutlets once a
schools
week.
are all next to their house, you know.
Yeah, we do that on purpose. It's all done
100%.
on purpose, you know.
100%. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
give the address of the nonnies so the kids can go to school there, you know. Meanwhile, you live in like Terrebonne.
I call my mom for meatballs and cutlets on the weekly, you know. And I'm passing by. Okay, the bag is ready. Perfect. Okay, back to the game. So this one's for Claudia. Name 3 things that are round.
Okay. The earth.
Nice.
That was
Nobody
very
ever
good.
said that before.
Well,
It's
some
true.
people think it's flat. So
I think we discovered that already a long time ago.
I know.
Around a circle.
Just shout it out when you know, Claude.
Medicine ball. There you go. That's a
The
circle.
medicine
good
ball, yeah. I won't say what I'm thinking.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Those are the best answers.
A bootylicious.
A bootylicious. Nicki Minaj.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Oh, Ashley, name 3 things that make you itch.
Pine nuts.
Pine nuts, I'm allergic.
There you go.
They also make me die.
Oh, no.
I know,
Are
I
you that
know.
allergic to pine nuts? Only pine nuts?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yes, I like to be different.
You're like, I'm a one of a
Everyone on
kind.
their toes. Mosquito bites
Yeah.
and bed bugs.
Bed
They're
bugs.
bed bugs.
More than itchy. Wow. That's. By the way, I'm shocked that the pine nuts only pine nuts. Like usually there's a 2 or 3. You know, it's
Yeah,
something
no,
in the nut.
just pine nuts.
You're okay. You're that person.
I'm the person that you're eating pesto, and
I'm
my like-
God. No pesto. It's not. Oh my God. Wow.
It's true, there are pine nuts in it.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Wow.
actually now because pine nuts are really expensive apparently. So
Yeah.
now the people are using other nuts and the cashews and stuff.
Yeah.
But I remember when I went to Greece, I had said like, "Oh, those are pine nuts," and they're like, "We don't have pine nuts here; they're too expensive."
Okay.
Nice.
Wow. Lisa.
Yeah.
Like really?
Yeah.
Name 3 planets.
I know the first one.
Like you really asked yourself that?
Yeah. Mercury, Jupiter, and Uranus.
That's why you just wanted that answer. She planned this whole thing, by the way. She planned that just to get
It is
that
a
answer.
planet, though.
Of course, it's a planet.
Of course.
What's the planet that's no longer? It's Pluto.
Pluto.
Pluto's no longer a planet anymore. Too
My
small.
daughter came home and said she wanted to save Pluto. Didn't know there was a problem with Pluto, but I'm all for it. Let's go.
Become a scientist, and you can save Pluto.
That's it.
Claudia, name 3 things that are funny. This question.
Hey!
That's what I was going to say.
Let me see. 3 things that are funny.
You know, if we had a clock, we'd all lose. We'd all lose. We're there.
My children, my 3-year-old,
Oh, there you go. How old are your children?
3 years old and 5.5 months.
Oh, you're in the thick of it, eh? Oof. Okay.
the best part of it.
Oh, yeah. It's still the thick of it. But yeah, it's fine. That's
You know, all
good.
3 going on 13.
Oh, yeah, they know it all.
No, I'm on 13. They're smarter than you. That's where I'm at.
No, that's 13 going on 30.
Oh my God. They know better. They live better than my kids tell me how I'm wrong. Oh, okay. Yeah, because I didn't do that. Anyway, sorry. So 3 things that are funny. One of your
My daughter?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Ashley, obviously. We all
Ashley.
we laugh all the time. It's like, you know, walk in, hi, what's up? Okay, going to my office, you know.
We should do a podcast not on law stuff. Just like have a few drinks and
I'm in.
laugh. And which comedian? Who's your favorite comedian?
I don't watch comedians. I don't
I don't
watch
TV.
it.
I'm a paralegal.
You know what? If you're in town and Sugar Sammy's
Sugar
in town,
Sammy,
Yeah.
he's
Yes,
Yeah,
I've heard
don't
of
sit in
him.
the front row because you might cry instead of laugh. But other than that,
Oh, he's hilarious. Love
he
him.
is hilarious. He's the best. Yeah, he is awesome. Ashley, name 3 animals that growl. Are we considered animals? Is that- Sorry.
Bears, dogs, and Cats.
Lions.
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 Do lions? Do
Tigers,
they or
and
they
bears.
hiss? I think they hiss.
Lions hiss?
Hiss? That's a snake.
Well, no, my cat, like,
That's your cat's not a lion.
he is not
it's
normal.
a cat.
I know. They're obviously.
Or
they're-
tiger. Tiger and lions and bears. Oh, mine.
Okay. Yeah. No.
It's like, do
Not
they
through a
hiss?
book, though.
I never
book.
heard like, oh, you mean like when they go
Like
that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I guess I don't know what you call that. I didn't.
Yeah, but like,
It's 'cause
fucking
you stepped on
I
his
didn't fucking
tail,
study
man.
the
like the
sounds of
Lion
animals.
King. The Lion King, it roared. Or
The
growled.
lions, yeah, lions.
Roar, growls. I guess not the same thing.
That's a good
You're
question.
gonna make me lose clients because apparently I don't know that there's a growling and a roaring.
She didn't know.
That's it. Oh my god. Hey, we're already finished, guys. We're
That was an
finished
hour?
the podcast. The hour is over.
Well, we can have a drink and talk about Sugar Sammy's jokes and stuff.
It was relatively painless, right? I'll send you the link. Okay, guys. So, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you guys learned.
Let's put him on the spot. Hold on. Would you come back and do another podcast?
Yes.
Ah,
Yeah? See? Yay!
that's amazing.
You guys are awesome.
Oh my gosh,
you.
you're so sweet. Oh my god, no, for real, man. Break out that bottle over there. So,
Where's the office located?
yes.
Westmount,
In Westmount? Okay.
1310 Green Avenue.
Oh, on Green Avenue.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you want to shout out a phone number?
So it's Divine Dr. Polak, 514-939-2199.
Wow. Okay, let's make an ad. Like, let's put some music behind
Call
that.
us.
Call us. Better call Saul. Best show ever, by the way. One of the best shows.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, guys, thank you so much,
Thanks for
Ashley
having
and
us.
Claudia, for
Thank
coming. And it was very informative. Like, honestly, I encourage anybody who wants to be a lawyer to do it, because it's something I want to do, but I didn't follow
Oh,
through
can
on.
you talk to my kids? Please?
Do they want a tattoo?
I'm trying to find, if I can find a way, I'll do that, man. I don't know, whatever it is. My son is just like, I don't need to go to school. I'm just going to be the best businessman around. Yeah? Okay, good. You try that and come and see me in 2 years. But anyway, so maybe the tattoo thing is going to work.
No, I wouldn't say that to my daughter, because she's already looking into like nose piercings. And I said, no, it doesn't happen. Well, Mom, if I pass CEGEP, can I have a nose piercing? We'll talk about it. She passed CEGEP. Okay. So, anyways, yeah. But honestly, it's something. I find it's a very, and as well as paralegal, very ambitious and a very powerful profession, and you really have to be dedicated to it.
Extremely respectful.
Very, very
Definitely.
respectful. Hugely. And I have the utmost respect, because the work that is involved is astronomical. I mean, sleepless nights, I can totally understand that. I wasn't in law, I was in psychology, and I had sort of branched out. Hypnosis, not even close, but still. The hours, I can only imagine. You guys have that bar book, and
Oh, the bar.
just like, oh my god.
PTSD.
Happy feeling gone. So, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget, let's talk it out. We will definitely link Ashley and Claudia and everybody to this podcast when it does come out. Guys, stay tuned, because this has been really informative and fun. So thank you guys again.
Thank you.
And guys, stay tuned for our brother podcast, Sessions with Steph, as well. It's a musical podcast where they play live music as well. So stay tuned for that. Francesca, we miss you. We'll see you next time. Bye, guys, and have a great evening.
Ciao.
Bye.